What's up, everybody? It's Rashad Buie. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button as I upload videos on a weekly basis covering the hottest topics in sports, especially if it is OU related. This is Ballin' with Buie. Today I'm going to break down my last region in my bracketology, the Midwest region. I broke down the other three already, so let's jump right in. First game, won Illinois. Playing a 16 seed, obviously, because that's how it works. Illinois is going to wipe them. There's not going to be any upsets. Like I've said in every other video, all the 1 seeds will advance past the round of 64 with no issues. So Illinois is going to advance to the round of 32. Then the 8 versus 9 matchup, Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech. I think Loyola Chicago is going to win. Don't really know much about either of these teams, to be honest, but they made a Final Four run last year, and they got the elderly lady who is going to the game once again. I think she's like 102. I can't remember her exact age, but she's up there. So how can I not pick Loyola Chicago just based off that? So I got them moving on to the next round. Then we got 5 versus 12, Tennessee versus Oregon State. I've picked a couple 5 versus 12 upsets, but I don't think that's going to happen in this one. I think Tennessee is going to be able to advance. And then we got the Oklahoma State Cowboys at the 4 versus Liberty. I have seen a lot of analysts saying that Liberty is going to be able to pull an upset off against Oklahoma State. But Oklahoma State has looked really good to end the year. About the last 3 weeks, Oklahoma State has looked like a very good basketball team. They beat Oklahoma twice. They beat West Virginia a couple times. They beat Baylor, and they made it to the Big 12 championship where they ultimately lost. But they've looked really good, and I think they're going to be able to handle Liberty with no issues. I mean, Cade Cunningham is going to be able to lead them, I think. I think he's going to be able to win them a couple games here in this tournament. Then we got the 6 versus 11, San Diego State versus Syracuse. Syracuse, they're not their typical selves. They're not the high-powered Syracuse that we're used to seeing, high-seeded Syracuse that we're used to seeing. But I still think they are a dangerous basketball team, and San Diego State better be careful. And I think that Syracuse is going to be able to pull off that upset in the round of 64 and send San Diego State home packing. We got 3 West Virginia versus 14 seed. Now, I think West Virginia is going to be able to handle business. That is kind of a... West Virginia is a team that I don't have a lot of faith in, just because they kind of struggled down the stretch. But they struggled down the stretch against very good basketball teams. It's not like they were getting beat by the bottom tier of the Big 12. They're losing to the top teams in the Big 12. And Big 12 is the second best conference in basketball this year. So I don't have a ton of faith in them from that aspect, but I do think West Virginia is still a very good basketball team. Derek Culver and what's his face? I can't remember the other guy's name off the top of my head, but just Derek Culver. I mean, that's all I need to know for West Virginia to get a win. I think they're going to be able to move on to the round of 32 without many problems. Then we got 7 Clemson versus 10 Rutgers. I had to do a little bit of investigating, if you want to say that, to figure out a little bit about both these teams because I didn't know much. But Rutgers, they had a couple of good wins in the Big Ten. I mean, like I've said, Big Ten is the best conference in basketball this year, and they were able to pull off an upset against Illinois, who is considered one of the best teams in basketball right now, maybe the second best team, third best team, arguably. So I got to pull with Rutgers in this one. I think they're going to pull off the upset. I mean, it's 10-7, so it's not really an upset, but seeding-wise it is. So yeah, and then the 2 seed Houston, taking on the 15 seed. Houston, I think, is the worst 2 seed in the tournament. I don't like them as a 2 seed. I don't think they're a good basketball team, but I don't think they're a 2 seed. But I do have them advancing to the round of 32. Then we got the first round of 32 matchup. It's going to be Loyola Chicago versus Illinois. Like I said, Illinois is one of the hottest teams in basketball right now. So I think Illinois is going to be able to advance to the Sweet 16 very easily. And then the Tennessee versus Oklahoma State. I think it's going to be a very good basketball game. I do give the edge to Oklahoma State, though. They've looked really good, like I've said. And Cade Cunningham, I think, is going to lead them to a Sweet 16. If they go home before the Sweet 16, I think that'll kind of be a disappointment for Oklahoma State. If I'm an Oklahoma State fan, I expect the Sweet 16. That's what I expect. And I think they're going to be able to deliver that to set up a big matchup. And the next matchup, 11 Syracuse versus 3 West Virginia. I think the Oranges kind of run is going to end right there. I think West Virginia is going to be able to beat them and send Syracuse home. But I mean, getting that first round win for Syracuse is going to be big because they're going to be the underdogs. So you can't ask for much more than that. Then 10 Rutgers versus 2 Houston. Originally, I had Rutgers winning this game, but I don't trust Houston, but I trust them enough to be able to handle a 10 seed in the tournament, and I think Houston will be able to advance to set up a matchup against West Virginia. Still not very confident in that, but that's what I'm going to roll with. Houston advancing to the Sweet 16. First Sweet 16 matchup, which is going to be a very good game, I think. I honestly think if this matchup happens, I think it's going to be the best Sweet 16 matchup in the tournament, how I got it laid out anyways. Illinois versus Oklahoma State. Illinois is a very good basketball team, but then it doesn't matter how good you are when you're going against Cade Cunningham on the other side. And I think Cade Cunningham is going to be able to give him a little bit of problems. I think Boone brothers are going to be able to give him a little bit of problems, but Illinois is just going to be too much. They're too good, and they're going to be able to advance to the Elite 8. And the other matchup is going to be 2 versus 3, Houston versus West Virginia. I don't have a lot of faith in either of these teams, but just from what I have seen and what I have witnessed on the basketball court from both these teams, I give the slight edge to West Virginia. I think this will be a very close game. I can't imagine either team being able to blow out either team. But I do have West Virginia making a run and advancing to the Elite 8, which I don't think a ton of people have West Virginia advancing to the Elite 8, but that's who I'm rolling with, which will set up a matchup, 1 Illinois versus 3 West Virginia. How I got it laid out, Illinois had to beat Big 12 teams back-to-back games, and I think they will do that. I think Illinois will be able to advance to the Final Four. They're expected to advance to the Final Four, so it shouldn't be a surprise. So yeah, that final matchup in the Elite 8, I got Illinois over West Virginia, and that is my last Final Four team. In the next video, I will break down the Final Four matchups, tell you who I think is going to win, and then ultimately give you my national champ. That's all I got for y'all in this video. Catch y'all later. Deuces.